StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
May I come in, sir?
Please,
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Neel Sharma.
Yes, sir.
Neel, you are from Maharashtra.
Yes, sir.
You have done material sciences and engineering.
Yes,
and
sir.
PSIR is your optional
Yes,
paper. You appeared twice in the past also in the interview.
Yes.
19 and 22.
Yes, sir.
How much was your score on
Sir, it was somewhere in the 170s, 172 and 175.
on both the occasions? 172?
Yeah, hovering in the 170s.
You don't
So
remember.
Sir, 172 and 175.
So what went wrong?
Sir, my mains score weren't that good for me to qualify the finals.
Which part?
Ma'am, the optional.
Optional.
Yes,
An
ma'am.
optional paper 1, paper 2. Which one?
Paper 2.
Paper 2.
Somewhere in the paper 2 and one time in paper 1. So it has fluctuated.
So IR is your weak point.
Ma'am, it isn't now, I believe.
You are presently employed in a private firm in Bengaluru
Yes, sir.
as a data scientist.
Yes, sir.
Getting very handsome package,
Yes, sir.
1.60 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
Why do you want to leave it? You
Sir,
won't get that much in civil services.
sir, I mean, money has never been the driving factor for me to come into civil services. So I took up this job, sir, because there was some financial constraint, my family responsibility, which I had to pick up. Sir, so I have firmly believe my calling is not money and especially private sector. So I have always been towards civil services. Hence, I thought that I should take this final attempt.
Your deaf shows that you were heading the media and film center.
Yes, sir.
What was your job here?
So there were variety of jobs.
Did you produce any films? Or?
So we did produce short films. We produced ad films for campus festival and inter-college festivals. We also produced a campus journalism show wherein we used to deliver the various happenings in and around campus to the Janta via YouTube. And we also trained the first year, second year who used to come to learn videography, photography, etc. These were my basic roles.
Okay. And why did you have to interact with the media? You were heading the media cell also.
So I mean, we never had any media interaction as such. I think that was a part that Senate used to do or the academic circle.
Since you are from Maharashtra, you know something about Atal Setu, which was constructed recently?
Yes, sir.
Any special features in that bridge?
Sir, if I recall correctly, it has an open tolling system, if that's what it's called. So that's a, I think a car doesn't need to stop on the toll, and rather there are CCTV cameras and systems in place wherein your toll is directly deducted from your number plate. So that's one system that I recall. So apart from that, I don't recall any special feature as such.
What about the safety of marine life?
Sir, one arrangement that I recall, sir, there are I think
Noise
sound
pollution.
barriers.
Noise pollution.
Yes, sir, sound barriers that are erected across the both ends of the I mean along the bridge.
My last question, since you are from PSIR,
Yes, sir.
what are the challenges facing the Indian democracy today?
Sir, if I have to mention a few challenges, over the top of my head is one, that is the conduct in the parliamentary. I think parliamentary democracy as such. So I see that the ways the bills are passed, the rushing through, not passing it through the parliamentary committee. So that is one place, and also the number of sittings going down, the frequent disruption of parliament. So that is one prominent, I would say, concerns regarding our democracy. So second could also be regarding the free speech, because I think because of the rampant use of maybe the NSA and the UAPA acts, so that kind of creates some chilling effect on the free speech regime in India. So I think these two could be prime among them, and third would be an ineffective opposition, I would say.
Ineffective opposition.
Opposition.
That's a challenge.
So yes, that's a challenge because we need that for an accountable system. So I think that is true.
Ineffective opposition and brute majority by the ruling party.
So I
That
think
is also a danger to democracy.
Sir, as long as the accountability measures are in place and as long as the governance is within the framework of the constitution, I don't think majority is a concern. Checks and balances is something. The independence of the organs of democracy, as long as they are functioning well, majority is not a challenge in my opinion, sir.
The general impression is that a large number of parties, political parties, do not enjoy inner party democracy. They don't conduct elections. Personality cult is worshipped.
Yes, sir.
That is also a danger.
Sir, indeed, I do believe that, and that's a proposition widely accepted because parties, when they lack inter-party democracy, so that not just affects the party structure and the credibility of the party, but also has a direct impact on the way debates, bills are discussed in the parliament. So yes, sir.
Neel,
Yes, sir.
you are having Vipassana.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question on yoga?
Sure, sir.
Just suppose this Vipassana is a form of yoga.
Yes, sir.
Rhythmic yoga is also a form of yoga.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between the two?
So the prime difference is that, sir, in yoga, the means that we take to reach towards equanimity is your bodily posture, whereas in Vipassana, it is the mental control over your breath or the observation of your breath. Sir, number two, the second difference would be, sir, yoga has if I talk about the origin, so that has a more of a Indic origin, whereas this.
No, I've asked you only the difference between Vipassana yoga and rhythmic yoga. I'm not here to go into the history of yoga.
All right, sir. So one is a means, as I already mentioned, sir. Yoga, maybe I'm not exactly understanding rhythmic yoga.
Do you know what is rhythmic yoga first?
Sir,
Perhaps don't know.
yes, sir.
You're making a guess.
Yes, sir.
Look into it. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
You are saying data scientist.
Yes, sir.
Data scientists. Now the scientist has to be broken into so many pieces now. Do you think it is a correct nomenclature given? Or you are belittling the scientist?
Sir, I think science, for a fact, deals with observations. It deals with making or search towards truth. Sir, I think with data, we kind of attempt that. We kind of try to use the data in different domains and try to find some insights and get some
Or
reality.
is it because it looks good, not to say data analytics or something like that? So better put scientists there. Is that the scenario?
Sir, as a matter of fact, there do exist data analysts, but I think data of science is a broad field that encompasses data analysts, AI engineers, etc. That anything that deals
But
with
at the
data.
end of the day, it is only the analysis.
So sometimes there are also some model creation that is not analysis, rather some knowledge that is created on data.
Any two you can mention?
Sir, I would say one would be decision tree classifier. So that is one of the data models that is used then to.
It is also emanate from the basic structure only. Any two model, please find out whether there is any difference or it is just just a fact that it looks good. Okay.
Sure, sir.
You mentioned about UAPA Act.
Yes, sir.
Sir was asking you UAPA Act.
Yes, sir.
And there is something called terrorism.
Yes, sir.
Recently, the 3 acts were passed. Are you aware of the names of those 3 acts relating to penal code,
Yes,
criminal
sir.
procedure code, and evidence?
Yes, sir. So it is Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, Bharatiya Sakshya Samhita, and Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita.
So terrorism is now a central act is there.
Yes, sir.
But already you have mentioned about UAPA.
Yes, sir.
It also deals with terrorism. Then why these 2 acts? Do you think it is a duplication?
Sir, in fact, this is a concern raised because the Act does defines terrorism or mentions terrorism, and it also gives the power for the police to investigate or to classify a crime as terrorism in the concerning act or maybe UAPS. So I think that is one of the concern that has been raised. And
so if the concerns are raised, then there should be there is a special act on dealing with terrorism.
Yes,
so it should also be there in the central, in the new amended thing. Is that what you are saying? Please find out what is the reason actually.
Yes, sir.
What does UAPA actually stand for, and why terrorism has been included as an offence in the act?
Sure, sir. I'll read about it. Thank you, sir.
You were saying that you were in this ad films, etc., etc.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the portrayal of women in the ad films is only for some other thing, or it has something to do with the classification of what you are trying to convey?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to get the.
See, the women is being portrayed in the ad films when it is not required also, to make it simpler for you.
Right, sir.
But they are put there. Is it by way of a deliberate design, or it helps you in propagation of the business? You're a business.
Sure, sir.
Get the question, no?
So I think every ad caters to a particular demography, particular section, and sir, maybe the product that is being advertised, sometimes it might require a female element based on the outreach that the ad is trying to do. So for example, sir, there have been a time where Surf Excel ads or ads on homemade cooking were used women as a central theme because it was easily accepted or maybe relatable for the wider audience. But as and when things are evolving, we are having gender neutral ads because of the consciousness as the society changes.
Taking a cue from what you are trying to say, last question. Tomorrow, you are the district magistrate of Gonda, which is in Uttar Pradesh.
Sure, sir.
What will be your core function, number one? And two, how will you ensure women's safety?
So as a district magistrate, my core functions would be several. So one would be implementation of the government scheme. So for example,
Number one.
So number two would be to look into the licensing part. There are a lot of licensing that goes on, factory license, arms license. So number three would be to create awareness about maybe social campaigns that goes on, social evils that plague the district. So for example, maybe campaign against feticide, etc. So then to answer the second part of your question, how the steps that I would be taking to address the women issue. Sir, again, there would be multiple steps. So one would be to ensure that since the Gonda district, as far as I remember, it's a rural, it has a significant amount of rural belt. So I would ensure that the self-help groups are functioning and the concerns regarding self-help group are registered. So number two would be the implementation of the schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. How are they functioning? That needs to be taken. So third would be to ensure that if there are public areas, there are sufficient lighting, there are sufficient law enforcement that are deployed. Sir, and also the women helpline number to make sure that they are robust and functioning.
But you know, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao comes under the education department, not the DM.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, sir, I might not be aware
please
of.
read what are the core functions of the district magistrate, whether it relates to land, law and order, etc., etc.
Sure, sir.
Most of the things which you said, some other department is there. There is a hierarchy there. You have been in the village?
Sir, not.
But you must have some idea.
Yes, I do have.
Then, if you have an idea, you find out.
Sure, sir.
Okay. All the best.
Neel Sharma, the material science engineer from IIT Kanpur.
Yes, sir.
What is the smallest building block of matter?
Electrons were until now considered the smallest building block. So now we have quarks, and now we have, sir, many other elementary particles within the electrons.
Such as within the electrons?
Sir, I mean within the atom itself. Sir, so we have
what are these particles?
leptons, sir, we have positrons, we have, sir, I'm unable to recall.
Positrons are the opposite of antiparticle of electrons.
Yes, sir.
They are not building blocks. The building blocks are?
Sir, within the atom, the electron, neutron and protons. So these three would be the upper level building blocks, and within them
neutron and protons.
Right, sir.
And they consist of?
Sorry, sir, I am not unable to recall.
They consist of quarks only.
Quarks.
Right? So the building blocks are quarks.
Sure, sir.
You know, this law and order crisis in Manipur is going on for close to 7 months now.
Right, sir.
More than that. It's a major problem that the country is facing.
Right, sir.
Are you aware what is the reason why there is no solution in sight? Why it is happening? In your opinion, what is the basic problem of the crisis in Manipur?
So the crisis emerges because of some historical factor and some immediate factor based on a judgment by the High Court.
Short answer.
So there are ethnic conflict between Kuki and Meiteis, which is the valley and the hill tribe.
Why?
Sir, historically, Meiteis occupied the valley, whereas Kukis are the hill tribes. Sir, and there is territorial conflict because of cultural differences between the two, and there is a interlinking with the greater Nagalim or the Naga conflict where there is an overlap of territorial.
No.
Sorry, sir, I'm not exactly aware of the nuances.
Long-standing problem. What triggered this problem?
So the trigger was because of a High Court judgment that that provided the scheduled caste status, scheduled tribe status to the Meiteis, which was.
Can court grant ST status?
Sir, it is in the domain of the government to create a list, and then it has to be notified by the president. As far as I know, I think the court doesn't have the power to grant a status.
But you said the court granted ST status.
Sir, it mentioned that the court they should be given. I mean, it kind of created a nudge.
Yes. Then what happened?
Sir, the cookies were not. They do not want the Meiteis to have the because of historical all conflicts that goes on. They don't want.
Why?
So because then that would creep. That would help. I mean, that would create competition and I mean creep into their share of reservations. Sorry, sir. I might not be aware of the nuances.
It's a major law and order problem facing the country.
Sure, sir.
You are an aspiring IAS and IPS officer. You should know about it.
Sure, sir.
Tell me how Rajya Sabha members are elected.
So they are elected via a indirect vote using a ballot that constitute of electoral college from every state legislative assembly. So elected members of the state legislative assembly elect proportional. I mean, there is a list system, and based on
there is a what system?
So there's a proportional representation, a list system, as they call it.
Proportional representation is fine, but what is list system?
Sir, so you nominate different candidates and give them a preference, and then the highest preference is. So there's an entire mathematics that go behind.
You know the mathematics?
Sir, not exactly.
You should know your PS and IR.
Sure, sir.
You should read about it.
Sure, sir. I'll read
My
it.
last question. What is the latest in Israel-Hamas war? Latest development.
So there are two latest developments. So one is a ceasefire resolution which was put forth in the UNSC and vetoed by USA. So second
Put
is
forth by whom?
So Algeria.
Correct.
Sir, and it was vetoed by USA. Sir, and second is the hardline position adopted by Netanyahu over the Rafah offensive, which he is going to.
In your opinion, why?
Sir, the hardline posture adopted by Netanyahu.
Yes.
Sir, I think two key factors which I can recall. So one is that Netanyahu has been facing a lot of internal opposition because of corruption charges, etc. Sir, and this kind of hardline posture becomes a way to defend its personal interests. Number one.
One reason.
Sir, and second is that there has also been allegations, if I could say so, about Netanyahu being a little tolerant with Hamas because.
No.
So I mean that's one allegation. Hence the caveat I put. That's that.
What is India's stand in this conflict?
Sir, India has said. Has time and again called for a two-state solution. It calls for a humanitarian
Which
corridor.
Israel doesn't want to accede to a Palestinian state.
Right, sir.
Why?
Sir, if I have to, based on my readings, Israel consider the entire territory its own, and it wants to divide the Western Bank and the Gaza, the administration that rules both the regions. So, I mean, that's one reason that I can.
While it is not spelled out anywhere, in my opinion, it doesn't want, because if there is a Palestinian state, sooner than later the Hamas will again come into prominence there, and it doesn't want the Hamas to again gain in strength and create problems for Israel.
Right, sir.
Right, but please read about it and form your own opinion.
Sure, sir.
Ma'am.
Hi, Neel.
Hi, ma'am.
So let's come to PSIR.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Why do we need theory in international relations?
Ma'am, theories need to. Theories are basically, they serve the purpose of analyzing the grand phenomena and kind of making some predictions based on that, or maybe analyzing the causes
So
of that.
grand phenomena. What kind of grand phenomena?
Ma'am, so for example, why does a country go for war? So I mean, if we need a theory for that.
So why does Russia go for a war, or did go for a war?
Ma'am, again, there are two schools of thought that would support this. So one, the realist school, as they say, there is a kind of constant security dilemma, and Russia's security dilemma emerges from the constant expansion of NATO. It doesn't want NATO on its in its turf. That is one. Ma'am, if I talk about the other reason is the interest, because kind of Russia considers the part
Just a point. Which school are we talking about? The second one?
Ma'am, I don't remember the exact school of thought.
National interest, right?
National interest.
Realism, right? Morgenthau, national interest.
Yeah, ma'am. That's the security dilemma part, which I
Okay. The
mentioned.
second one is?
And second was historically it considered these to be erstwhile part of the USSR, and hence it wants to kind of have a gain there or influence there.
Okay, so by this logic then, both the logic I'm going to argue then, why didn't it not have a problem with Finland joining NATO and only with Ukraine joining NATO? It's also in the backyard, it's also the historical place, both the arguments.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did it have a problem only with Ukraine?
Finland, the development in Finland happened after the Ukraine war, and since now Finland is a part of NATO. I mean, there are some concerns. There are some concern in the Russia for that. As far as Ukraine is concerned, I think Ukraine has a direct historical linkage with because Ukraine was a part of Russia, USSR, whereas Finland wasn't a part of USSR. I think that argument would justify this.
Have you read Tim Marshall's Prisoner of Geography?
Ma'am, I don't recall it correctly.
Okay. Let's move to the next question. What are proxy wars?
So proxy wars are wars where a country is not directly involved, but rather it engages in conflict via its so maybe by giving arms, or maybe by raising rebel groups in a region.
And Iran has how many proxies?
Ma'am, I think Iran has two proxies. One would be the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and one would be the Houthis in the Yemen.
Hamas?
Ma'am, Hamas are, I wouldn't call that as a proxy for Iran, because though Iran might be supporting, but Hamas never showed any affiliation to the Iran as discreetly as maybe Hezbollah or Houthis have.
I'm sorry, I didn't get this. You said that Hamas has not shown any support towards
I mean,
Iran.
not a direct affiliation with Iran.
But it has shown affiliations with Hezbollah.
No, ma'am. As Hezbollah has shown to Iran and has.
No, but Hamas has shown affiliations with Hezbollah.
Ma'am, I don't remember that, but Hezbollah has shown kind of affiliation to Hamas.
So what is happening in the Red Sea then?
When the Houthi rebellion, they kind of, as a measure of solidarity with the Hamas because of the Israeli attack, they are attacking the Red Sea in a kind of
and then that means Iran is provoking the Houthis to attack?
Ma'am, that's what that is one argument, yes.
So then can we say that Iran is having a proxy war against Israel in the region,
yes,
according to you?
Yes, ma'am, again, yes.
So what is the main agenda? Why does Iran have a problem with Israel?
Ma'am, this has to do with the ethnic and one with the Israel's closeness with USA. So Iran
What
has
is the ethnic angle?
Ma'am, so Iran being a Shia dominated country and Israel being a Jewish country, so they had a kind of historical conflict there, number one. And number two would be, since Israel is very close to USA, and there's a kind of USA versus Iran conflict after the Iranian Revolution, so that becomes another point of conflict.
Neel, there was no conflict between the Shias and the Jews. You are bluffing here. I'm sorry to point that out.
Sorry.
Okay, it was Islam and Jews, but not Shias right there.
All right.
Okay. Mission Aspidus. Do you know what that is?
Ma'am, it's a EU-launched mission in the Red Sea to safeguard the.
And what is US doing about it?
Ma'am, about this mission?
Or US about the Houthi attack in the Red Sea?
Ma'am, so USA has also launched an alliance there, the Red Sea Alliance, and it has also deployed its military ships and kind of giving a counter-offensive to the attacks by Houthis.
According to you, all these missions and operation, would it be successful against a proxy war?
Ma'am, I think in short run it might, but in long run, I don't think that this is going to yield long-term benefit or even a permanent fix. I think the permanent fix is going to come via maybe diplomacy, and I think that is an option.
So who should we talk to then?
Ma'am, firstly, immediate reasons should be addressed. So, for example, a ceasefire would be a good beginning. That would placate maybe both the rebels, and then maybe having the concern of Iran regarding after the withdrawal of the JCPOA. I think that would be another step.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Neel. Mock interview is over.
Thank you, sir.
I would request you to kindly go out.
Sure, sir.
Wait for a few moments. We'll
Thank you,
call
sir.
Neel, you have a very pleasant personality,
Sure.
and we have very high hopes on you, especially when you have appeared twice in the past
Yes,
also
sir.
and got very good marks. In fact, I would wish that you must aim at getting at least 200 marks, 200 plus this time. A few points we would like to share. This happens to be your last chance.
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So grab it. Don't lose the chance.
Sure, sir.
A few points we would like to share with you. We had extensive consultations. देखिए आपके कुछ नॉलेज गैप्स देखे हमने. मैडम ने भी पूछा था, सर ने भी
Right,
पूछा
sir.
था कुछ. तो उसके लिए आपको थोड़ी एनहांस करना पड़ेगा नॉलेज बेस अपना.
Sure, sir.
और ट्राई टू गिव शॉर्ट आंसर्स. आपके आंसर जो है ना समटाइम्स बिकॉज यू हैव गॉट नॉलेज सो यू हैव अ टेंडेंसी टू गिव वेरी लॉन्ग आंसर्स. उसको शॉर्ट कर दीजिए.
Sure, sir. Points में.
डोंट ओपन न्यू विंडोज फॉर द बोर्ड
Mhm.
टू अटैक यू. जितना आपको आता है उतना करिए. और आपको अगर नहीं आता है कोई क्वेश्चन, डोंट हैजर्ड अ गेस. जस्ट से आई एम सॉरी सर, आई डू नॉट नो.
Sure, sir.
There is no, that is the easiest course of action you can take. Instead of making a guess or just say I'm sorry, I do not know.
Sure, sir.
Nothing will happen, है ना. And current affairs के ऊपर बहुत आपको पता ही है. There is lot of emphasis is being laid on the current affairs. So keep yourselves up to date. Read the newspapers daily, regularly. आपका आर्टिकुलेशन बहुत अच्छा है, कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल भी बहुत अच्छा है. बट ओनली दिस कभी कभी आप गैस कर देते हैं. गैस मत करिए.
Yes, sir.
If you are not sure of an answer, please say, sir, I'm sorry, I do not know beyond this. Your communication skill is very good, excellent. But your favorite posture is this. This is a little irritating to the board, You
Sir,
always, you all through you are sitting like this, like this, Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So this you must keep your hands on your thighs.
Right,
This
sir.
is the right postures. With your fingers closed. तो इसको आप हैंड्स क्लास्पिंग जो है ना, इट मस्ट बी अवॉइडेड. इट इज़ ए साइन ऑफ नर्वसनेस एंड यू आर नॉट नर्वस. आई कैन टेल यू आर नॉट नर्वस. आपका सब कुछ ठीक है. और आपने जब ग्रीट करने आए थे ना तो यू ग्रीटेड अस वाइल ऑन वे टू द चेयर. वो ठीक नहीं है.
अच्छा.
आप क्वाइटली यू डोंट टेक द चेयर अनलेस यू आर आस्क्ड टू टेक. स्टैंड बाय द साइड ऑफ द चेयर फॉर 2-3-4 सेकेंड्स. उससे पहले ही आप गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग मैडम कह दीजिए. चेयर को करिए
यहाँ आने के बाद.
हाँ, स्टैंड करने के बाद. स्टार्ट बाय द साइड. ऐसे नहीं कि आप जा रहे हो गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग. ऐसा वो दैट्स
सर जैसे रूम से काफी दूरी होती है तो आप बोलोगे आते वक्त
कोई
कुछ
बात
नहीं बोलना.
नहीं. आप सही. व्हेन यू एंटर द रूम योर इंटरव्यू स्टार्ट्स.
Sure, sir.
हाउ ग्रेसफुली यू आर वॉकिंग, हाउ कॉन्फिडेंटली यू आर वॉकिंग, दैट ऑल्सो योर इंटरव्यू स्टार्ट्स. बट आप जब खड़े हो जाएंगे बाय द साइड ऑफ द चेयर, देन ओनली से गुड मॉर्निंग.
Sure, sir.
Because it's a very serious occasion, Don't take the board in the UPSC lightly.
Right.
They also deserve respect, lot of respect, Pleasing personality, we are all unanimous on this point, but weak on facts. तो उसको भी आप थोड़ा strengthen
Sure, sir.
करिए. अपना 1 महीना है तो you have got enough time.
Right, yeah.
Communicate with your friends. जितना पढ़ सकते हैं पढ़िए. आपका इम्प्रूव करेगा. लेकिन टारगेट, नर्वस तो आप नहीं हैं, लेकिन कभी आपको फियर ऑफ द अननोन होता होगा ज़रूर कि क्या होगा, व्हाट विल हैपन दिस टाइम, दिस इज माय लास्ट अटेम्प्ट. उसको ओवरकम करिए आप ज़रा.
Sure, sir.
डोंट लेट इट ओवरकम यू, यू ओवरकम दैट.
Sure, sir.
स्ट्रेस नहीं होनी चाहिए. एंड यू हैव वेरी वेरी गुड पर्सनैलिटी. यू विल, आई हैव हाई होप्स एंड यू विल मेक इट. सर आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहें?
God is on your side. Whatever the chairman has said, your knowledge gaps, read on the,
Manipur.
think of the questions that might come. It will mostly be from the DAF and from the current developments, right? So think of the questions, maybe hundreds of questions, 100 questions. Think of the answers and avoid the, don't skate on thin ice, if you understand what I mean. Shia, Sunni, etc., etc. Don't get into such traps.
Sir, I understand that I shouldn't have said that.
You shouldn't have said.
Somehow I should have rather said I
And
don't
you said
know.
ethnic. It's sectarian.
Sectarian, yes, ma'am.
So be very
It's been a long time since I read
very
about.
careful in what you say. That's why I said think of the question, write down answers. To the point answers, short answers, short, crisp, and to the point. Avoid all those such traps, right? One thing which a chairman has already mentioned, I'm just trying to reiterate to emphasize upon its importance. You see, your knowledge has already been tested in the written prelim and written papers. Now it is your personality is being tested. It's not your test of knowledge, test of your personality. And personality means your integrity, your honesty, your poise, your level of confidence, and so on and so forth. So the essential part is, do never try and bluff. Do never do that. If you don't know, just say, I'm sorry, sir, I do not know. Then move on to the next question, right? Where you are reasonably sure कि मुझे तो आता है, then you ask for permission. In that case, if it is right, the credit will go to you. If it is wrong, no harm will come to you.
Right, sir.
Right? It's 1 month time and your last attempt. We all want to see you in the list of successful candidates.
Thank you, sir.
Right? Best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, ठीक है.
Any questions you have for us?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Cheer up.
Shave.
You'll make it.
Shave.
Sure, sir.
Comb your hair properly. Polish your shoes.
Yes, sir. I actually got a last minute
It's okay.
call.
It's okay.
That's
We understand it's a mock interview, not the UPSC final interview. It's a very formal occasion. Be formally turned out.
Right, sir.
Right? The moment you enter into the room, the interview board members, they're wanting to select an IAS officer. They should think of you as a solid candidate for selection as an IAS officer.
Yes.
That level of confidence you should exude when you walk into the room.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
All the best.
All the best.
StudyIQ IAS अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।